This is I Pierce the Toast. I'm Sean.
And I'm AJ. Let's make some toast.
Welcome back to I Pierce the Toast.
Hi, guys. Hi, Toasticles.
Every time it makes me giggle.
Yeah.
Makes me giggle like
That's all good.
like a schoolgirl.
So, I hear that you're calling it I Pierce the Toast.
You know what? I think you're going to be pleased this week. I made an effort. All right. I rolled for initiative to start calling it IPTT, and it came up 0. So I failed.
Is that Dungeons and Dragons?
That you're damn well. Is that not relevant right now? What was released this weekend?
I actually just saw that last night.
Did you see it?
I did.
Oh, don't you dare tell me a fucking thing.
No, it was so good.
Because the problem is, ordinarily, my wife would never be into a film like this, right? She wouldn't even consider it.
Yeah.
But
Chris Pine.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, Chris Pine.
Okay.
So, did you see what they were, the promotional thing that they were releasing with the film?
The dye popcorn thing?
Oh my God, I want one.
Oh, two of the friends that we had that went with us last night, they were really trying to get that, but fortunately they were just a tad late, and they I guess they just ran out the day before anyway. So
I was about to say, I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of those, and they're going to be a hot item on eBay or whatever else. But yeah, so without giving anything away, how was it?
It was, I would say, it's not an amazing movie by any stretch of the imagination. It was a really, really good movie, especially if you're a D&D fan, because there were a lot of tropes and a lot of character development and stuff like that that really makes you feel like, okay, this could be any campaign that somebody's doing. Yes, I'm giving myself away as a nerd, but that's okay.
Okay, well, I mean, you know that I've never really been into D&D.
Yeah.
But... And I've never even really been into like MMORPGs, honestly. I think the closest thing I ever really got into were things like...
Do you mean just RPGs in general? I mean, you played Skyrim.
I was about to say that. No, definitely MMORPGs, because I played Skyrim. Which
MMORPG is a
multiplayer.
Yeah, multiplayer.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that you were just talking about in general.
No. I mean specifically the multiplayer ones, because I never really got into what's the biggest one? Warcraft.
Yeah.
But I did get into Elder Scrolls, or what was it? Not Elder Scrolls, but Skyrim.
Yeah.
So based off that, and kind of at least understanding the running gags or the complaints of D&D, do you think I would enjoy this film?
Oh, I think you would. It's an enjoyable film regardless.
Outstanding. All right.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. What else is going on in the news? Reese Witherspoon is single again.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot this week.
I mean, that's great. See, this is the kind of news where it's like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy my celebrities, but I'm not a fan worshiper, if that's if that's the kind of term that you're going for. I don't care about what they're doing with their free time. Oh my God, she bought a Starbucks, she bought this. I really don't care.
See, that's the worst part. I looked up entertainment news to see if I could find something we could talk about.
E-news? Really?
No, not like e-news, like specifically that.
Oh, okay. I was like,
just entertainment news in general. And that's exactly what it came up with. That kind of stuff. Like, oh, so-and-so's out getting a Starbucks. Like, I don't give a shit.
I don't care that the pink drink is back and now you're super excited about it. That being said, I have had Starbucks 3 times in the past couple days.
Well, now you'll never be able to afford a home.
No, I still will. I'm just going to build my house out of fucking Starbucks cups.
Oh, so AJ, we talked about the Oscars last week. We talked about some of the predictions we made, and I decided for this week that we needed to review a very avant-garde piece of film history with 2 Oscar winners in it. Because right off the bat, obviously, we know that because there were 2 Oscar winners in this, it must be a phenomenal piece of cinema.
Well, I thought that, I saw the one of the Oscar winners that you had in here, and I was like, oh my God, we're going to be doing of God and Monsters. I think that's the name of it.
No, definitely, yeah. But that's a great one too. But this one, I think, really just encapsulates the talent of all involved.
Oh, okay.
And it really brings us to the forefront. And that film, of course, is the 1992 cinematic classic, Encino Man.
They fucking talk this shit up like it's the greatest thing. Don't get me wrong, Encino Man is an amazing movie, but it's not a masterpiece.
How dare you? It is a masterpiece. Do you know what the tagline was for when this movie was released?
I'm guessing it has something to do with, like, caveman in the 90s. Whoa.
Kinda, yeah. It was Where the Stone Age Meets the Rock Age.
Jesus.
Oh, so we're going to dive right in. Encino Man, 1992.
Hey, that's the year I was born.
That was the year you were born. Oh my God,
yeah, are Toasticles. I'm dating myself there.
You are. Oh man.
Yeah.
Now they'll be able to look you up on the internet.
Yeah, you can also look, us up on the internet. And if you like what we're saying right now, you can subscribe so you always get our notifications. Hey,
look at that plug. Good for you. You marketing genius. So, Encino Man was directed by Les Mayfield, who has directed such hits as Blue Streak, The Man with Samuel Jackson and Eugene Levy.
Ooh, yeah.
And Flubber with Robin Williams. Oh, no. Oh, what is that sigh?
Flubber is so awful.
Oh, come on. It's true, but come on.
Sorry.
We're already at a fun fact. Like, fun fact number 1, right out of the gate. Apparently, Les Mayfield had to kind of prove, and this is, I guess, a Disney movie, and I didn't really realize that, until I was starting to look at some of the show notes of everything that took place with this film. And Les Mayfield apparently had to prove to Disney that this could be something.
Really?
And he had to do a short proof of concept version of Encino Man to kind of sell this idea to Disney. And you're going to love this. So in his version, and we're going to get to know who some of these individuals are later, but the titular character of the Encino Man, the caveman, whose his name is Link, was done by Ben Stiller.
You're fucking kidding me.
I swear to God. Ben Stiller. I wish I could find. I wish there's footage that existed somewhere because I would love to watch this. So Ben Stiller from obviously Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, Zoolander. Very famous actor.
Mystery Men.
The Dave character, who in this film is played by Sean Astin, played by Keith Coogan. You may not remember this guy. Do you remember a movie called Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead?
Yeah.
Do you remember the brother? The one that was kind of lazy and kind of a rocker, and then decided to become a cooking expert. And because he started watching Julia Child and started making Belgian waffles.
What?
Yeah, that's Keith Coogan.
I guess I don't remember this. I don't
honestly
know.
I don't remember him from a lot of other stuff. That's literally the only thing. And I'm sure somebody could come to me and be like, "Oh, he was also in this," and I would be like, "Oh yeah, right," and of course. But other than that, I don't really remember him. And then Jeff Maynard played, who was originally called Harold, and we'll get into that. And he was in a film called UHF. But just with Ben Stiller and Keith Coogan alone, I would have loved to have seen this proof of concept play out and see what that would have looked like. That would have been a lot of fun. Writers and producers. So George Zaloom wrote and produced the film. I looked up his credits. He mostly did a lot of making of and behind the scenes stuff.
I didn't even know that you could specialize in that, but that's pretty fucking cool to me.
Right. It needs producers, it needs directors, it needs writers, right? I guess that is a thing you could do. And so, now you and I have a goal.
See, I want to do the making of and behind the scenes of those really bad sci-fi movies like Boa.
Okay. See, here's what I want to do. I want to do a making of the making of your film of Boa.
I like that. That would be great. We sit down, we're like, yeah, we were talking about this director, we were talking to this actor. Hey, where's my coffee?
The theme of this episode is going to be coffee. Coffee. Writer Sean Sheps, I think I'm saying that right, SCHEPPS. She was a writer for the TV show Weeds, the films Drumline, Son-in-Law. Oh yeah, great film, great television show.
Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah, and she also wrote for Drop Dead Diva, and I think I mentioned that last week because of April Bowlby. So everything just kind of comes full circle when it comes.
I think you're just mentioning this because I literally watched, or I saw you watch every single episode of this show
of Drop Dead Diva.
Yeah.
Oh, you were there for that era, huh?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for that.
I've been around for 14 years or something like that. I don't think it's 14 years.
I know. I'm sorry you had to be there for that.
I've been there for Your Friends. I've been there for Drop Dead Diva, and now I'm here for Psych.
Yeah, Psych is great. I've been really been enjoying Psych recently. I don't know how to watch a show when it comes out. I have to wait 20 years and then I can enjoy it. That's my MO. Like film, I'm gonna go see Dungeons and Dragons probably tonight, but like anything else, it's like no, I gotta wait a couple of decades. So this you're gonna love. So Sean wrote and directed, and George and Les helped produce a sequel to Encino Man.
See, I saw this whenever I pulled up your computer earlier, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
And so the film is called Encino Woman. I believe it was 1996. It is available in full on YouTube. If that gives you any indication of the quality of this film, it is exactly as bad as you think it is.
That means that no one came in and was like, "Hey, we're pulling the copyright." Exactly. They're like, "Nah, just keep it up. Just keep it up. Somebody's watching it."
So it was a made-for-TV movie, and if you think I'm not gonna, after this, make you sit down and watch this horrible piece of shit with me, like, I'm not doing this alone. We can both fit on the door. We're doing this.
This is like Dark Highway all over again.
Oh God, the movie was so bad. Now let's get to the part we really want to get to. Let's get into this cast.
Yeah,
because this is a star-studded cast, which is hilarious. Because this really is just a. We talked about throwaway comedies a couple of weeks ago. That's what this is. It was just, the studio didn't really want to do it. They weren't super enthused about it, but they figured they could make a buck off it, and they did. They made lots of money off it because they were trying to capitalize on the whole surfer dude motif that was happening at the time. There was a lot of that, like the California guy thing going on.
Yeah, there was, I think around the same time, there was like Airborne, Surf Ninjas, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Which we're going to cover both of those.
Damn right we will. I like how both of our childhoods were shaped by California surfer dude. So right off the bat, we got to talk about him. It's Pauly Shore.
Yeah, Weasel.
The Weasel. Which I love because not only is his nickname in the film the Weasel, that's actually his actual nickname, the Weasel, because he does that thing. I love
Pauly Shore in every single role he's ever been in.
And he's honestly such a genuine, cool dude.
Yeah.
You find out, he might have some stuff in his past. I don't know. But I didn't see any controversy, pop up when I was, doing my little research and looking at his Wikipedia. I mean, it might have been there, but, most of the time I'm just looking for, film credits or other people they've worked with or, the fun facts about the person themselves.
Well, he was just made fun of recently, wasn't he?
He was. And that's what's interesting. So there are 2 Oscar, at the time, nominees. Now we both know they were winners.
Yeah.
In this film alongside Pauly Shore. And we're going to get to them in a moment. But Jimmy Kimmel decided to take kind of a poke at Pauly Shore. And it wasn't that bad. It was I can't remember the exact joke he made. It wasn't great. I think unfortunately Jimmy Kimmel is kind of the bland guy you go with. When Chris Rock gets the shit slapped out of him, that's what you do. So Pauly Shore kind of responded to this, and he's like, "I don't get it, man. Why is everybody?" He's just kind of people always making fun of me. What the hell, man? I'm a nice guy. I don't know. I don't get it. And then he, of course, gave accolades to the 2 Oscar nominees / winners because he's like, yeah, of course I'm happy for them. This is awesome. I'm so glad they made it this far. And it's funny because we'll get to more Pauly Shore along with these 2 later. But now that we've gotten that out of the way,
well, I mean, there was some good movies he was in. He was in Biodome and stuff like that, wasn't he?
Let's not say good.
Okay, so 90s good.
They were fun 90s comedies.
And he had a series of those, right? What else was he in? I can't remember a couple.
Oh, we've got Biodome, Son-in-Law, Jury Duty, In the Army Now. They were
all those were the reign of the 90s.
And apparently that was kind of part of the deal to get him signed on to this film. Was he told the main guy at Disney, Jeff, I want to say Krasinski?
Foxworthy?
No, not Foxworthy. No, he was not a redneck. So his way of kind of getting into this deal was he signed on for a 3-movie deal, and I think it included some of those films that you're talking about, like Son-in-Law, and I think probably either Jury Duty or In the Army Now. And then, of course, like you said, he had Biodome.
But then the Goofy movie. And the recent Pinocchio one he was in.
I don't think that was part of this, but yeah, he's still working. He's still doing stuff. I think he's like owns a comedy club in California now, and he's he regularly performs there. So he's still hooking and jabbing.
See, I think we're gonna have to cover Pauly Shore later on. I think we'll save a lot of the fun facts that I know about Pauly Shore for that. But yeah, I think we need to cover him because he's an interesting, just fun character.
He is.
And when I think of the 90s, I would say that he comes up almost immediately.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because he's an interesting juxtaposition of the California dude, because you also have, like, your Bam Margera's, which were much more like, I'm a badass skater. And then Pauly's just like, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, we'll have to talk about the lingo later, because this movie is so great. All right, moving on.
So, I'll also note, he actually was nominated for Worst Newcomer at the Razzies for this movie.
Really?
I mean, this movie was not critically acclaimed, obviously. Yeah. It's not that kind of movie.
It's a throwaway comedy.
It's a throwaway comedy. And I realized I haven't even said the plot. The plot is a couple of California high school teenagers discover a caveman in ice in their backyard who thaws out and is still somehow alive, because that's how ice works.
Well, they do it with a bunch of space heaters, too, don't they?
Yeah. Yes. It's exactly, they thaw them out. So they thaw him out, and then they take him to high school. That's the plot of the film.
Yeah.
So just to mention that, by the way. So next we have Sean Astin, who plays. Oh, and I'm sorry. Pauly plays Stoney. Yeah. So yeah, his nickname in the film is the Weasel, but I'm going to be referring to him as Stoney because that's. Oh, buddy. For anybody that's not familiar with Pauly Shore, you may just want to go hop over to YouTube real quick.
Yeah, just real quick.
Just look up some Pauly Shore stuff. Sean Astin. He plays Dave Morgan. And, God, the amount of talent and career here is just amazing. I mean, we're talking about a guy that was in Sam in the Lord of the Rings trilogies. One of his first early, films where he, gained absolute megastardom was The Goonies. He was Rudy in Rudy.
Love Rudy.
And of course, for some of the newer generation, they'll probably remember him as Bob Newby on Stranger Things, the very lovable character Bob Newby.
See, I always remember him in a very special role. It's probably the biggest role that he's ever played in his life. It was Doug in 50 First Dates.
The biggest role? Doug. Is that the one where he has a lisp? Yeah. He's like, for some reason, he's always in like a mesh cut, like sleeveless shirt. God. You would bring that up. Poor Sean Astin. And next, very excited for this one. And this is our first Oscar nominee / winner from the 2023 Oscars, Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser. He knows where I live if I pronounce that wrong, apparently. And he, of course, plays our title character. He is Link the Caveman. And Brendan Fraser, man, this is such a comeback story. But from the 90s, we have movies like The Mummy, the entire trilogy, School Ties, Airheads, George of the Jungle, Blast from the Past, Bedazzled. He had a recurring role on Scrubs as Dr. Cox's brother-in-law from his marriage to Jordan. He was a force to be reckoned with in the 90s and very early 2000s. And then, of course, we have a problem that hits, and we can't talk about Brendan Fraser without talking about that problem. Yeah. And that, of course, is the issue that took place in 2003 when he was sexually assaulted by Philip Burke of the Hollywood Press Association, Foreign Press Association, excuse me. And this put a damper on his career. And I think it caused him a lot of emotional issues that he had to try to work through. And he was, this made it hard for him not only emotionally to work, but I think he also had some physical issues. Am I remembering that correctly?
Well, there's something that happened with his back.
That. Thank you. Yeah, and I think that was from like the Mummy films.
Yeah, I think
maybe
so.
George of the Jungle. I can't remember, but a lot of stuff he was trying to deal with. From 2003 until fairly recently, we didn't get to see a lot from Brendan Fraser. He has credits. He was still working, but it was mostly one-offs here and there. Nothing really big that we could mention. Then a few years ago, he lands Doom Patrol.
Yeah,
and he plays it amazingly. obviously. He does a phenomenal job, and it's kind of a deep character. It's a man that's taken out of his own body and put into the body of a robot and has to come to grips with that. And this is a comic book film or a comic book show, but he's still thinking, hey, we're right back to April Bowlby. Hey. And then 2022, he is given the role in The Whale, which you had mentioned before.
So good.
Absolutely incredible film. And not only was it an incredible film and piece of performance that we as the audience could enjoy, the Academy recognized it, and he was awarded the Best Actor. So after everything he's been through, we start with Encino Man, we get all the way to here, and he has shown us that he is still that force to be reckoned with, and it's just such a incredible comeback story.
Well, didn't you mention that Philip Berk was the president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association? Didn't you mention to me that they run the Golden Globes, and it had something to do with that's why he didn't attend this year?
That's exactly why. So I believe Philip Berk was dismissed from the Hollywood Foreign Press Association at some point, but the Hollywood Foreign Press has never really acknowledged or apologized for what happened to Brendan, and so he didn't attend.
I mean, by all means, I fully understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I wonder if that ties back to why he didn't win the Golden Globe for the Best Actor, because he did win the Academy Award, but he didn't win Best Actor for Golden Globes. That doesn't make any sense, because traditionally,
I'd buy that for $1. Yeah,
I mean, it was Austin Butler, I think, that won for Elvis. Which, don't get me wrong, Elvis was a great movie, but typically, if you win the Golden Globe for Best Actor, you're almost a shoo-in for the Academy Award. It's typically how that follows.
And I think there are some examples where that's not the case, but I think you're typically right that it's usually kind of a fairly steady pipeline. But I wouldn't disagree. I mean, I imagine they gave him the nomination, and I don't know if that nomination was because they were this was their way of saying, yeah, we get it, but we still think you did great, or if it was them simply being unable to not recognize his incredible contribution to performance that year.
Well, I'm wondering if it's a thing too that if they could, would they have not have given him the nod? But they couldn't just not give him the nod.
That's a good question. And maybe they just didn't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they obviously this thing had happened, and they were aware of it, and they've clearly refused to speak on it, and they allowed Philip Berk to keep his job for decades after this happened. Despite Brendan's objections and his complaints. I don't know. And I don't know how much more I want to speculate on this, but just because of the topic at hand. But the major point here is Brendan Fraser has come back with a fucking vengeance. And I am loving Fraser mania right now. I'm loving it. Like it's so great to be able to see this new generation of just loving Brendan Fraser and realizing the wholesomeness that he is, and his great relationship with his kids, and everything that makes Brendan Fraser the incredible human he is.
Well, that's why I think it's interesting that you said with the vengeance, because I'm like, can he even have vengeance? Because he's the most lovable guy.
I don't think he's capable. It's a good point. Very good point. So we have a lot of fun facts about Brendan from this film, and I love it. First off, 2 things apparently made Fraser stand out for this film. One was he wrestled a plant in his audition.
That's hilarious.
I don't know how that played out, but I would have loved to have seen it. The other was actually just more of the producers kind of seeing this in him. They said he possessed this innate innocence.
Yeah.
Which made him, yeah, right. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Like, he doesn't seem like he could be a vengeful guy. Which is weird because in The Mummy, he plays a very hard-ass, chiseled adventurer, Indiana Jones style, which is great. It shows his range, right? But they thought he had a look that said he was truly perceiving the world of the 20th century through the first time. And I thought that was just an interesting, take on Brendan Fraser as an individual.
Yeah, you know what? Thinking of the blast from the past, he does. He can do that very well. Where he's seeing something for the first time.
So it's interesting you say that. Encino Man is considered by fans of Brendan Fraser as the first in
Fraser.
I'm gonna keep fucking that up, aren't I?
Yeah.
Fraser.
He's gonna come for you.
He's gonna come for me. He's gonna come and he's gonna have cookies and he's like, please stop. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, Brendan. Please hug me and never let me go. So Encino Man is considered by his fans as the first of the Himbo trilogy.
Himbo.
Yes, like himbo. Like, there's the term that really kind of demeaning term, bimbo.
Yeah.
Himbo is like, a good-looking man that's, also very, kind of innocent and cool and doesn't really understand the world going around him, doesn't know how hunky he is. Movies and the way they describe it.
Yeah. I could see that now. This, George of the Jungle, and Blast from the Past, where it's like all of those.
Oh my God, you totally called both of them. That was it. Those were the three.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the Himbo trilogy, where he's the hot guy that's unaware of how hot he is.
Okay.
And they like this is a big thing in his fandom of the Himbo trilogy. Apparently, Nicolas Cage and Jim Carrey were both considered for the role of Link.
I couldn't see either of them.
Yeah, the face you just made, that scrunchy cringe face. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
The Fizz face.
The Fizz?
Yeah, Fizz.
Fizz. What is Fizz?
Like whenever you see something so stanky, you just got to make this face. This face.
What the fuck? Where do you get this shit?
From the internet. There's a funny meme of Obama doing the Fizz face, and it's just hilarious. I'll show it to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see that. So yeah, I don't see that either. Definitely not a casting I would have thought of. Nice. AJ has just showed me the Obama Fizz face. Very nice. Well done, Mr. President. Hold on a second, I gotta get water or something.
That's not a water. That's a Diet Coke.
It's got water in it. So this is interesting. I knew he had done this for Son-in-Law, but I didn't realize he had also done it for In the Army Now. Fraser reprises his role as Link in both of those movies for just like these
really?
Yeah, for like quick cameos. And I just thought that was so much fun. I don't know. I don't know what that says. I don't know if that says that him and Pauly Shore just remained really good friends, and Pauly just thought it'd be fun to insert him in. But I love that Brendan, who is in this time becoming this like mega star, is still just like, no, yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with my buddy Pauly and do some of his goof movies.
Oh yeah, he was when Pauly Shore was dressed up as the banana person. There's like he was wearing like the Chiquita banana outfit, and like Link like eats the fruit off of his hat.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I remember that now. Okay,
I totally forgot about that. Wait, no, that was Jury Duty, wasn't it?
No, that was in the Army Now. I thought.
Was that in the Army Now? I could have swore that was Jury Duty. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of when he just dressed up like a woman in the Jury Duty, and then he goes in to try to talk to the guy, and a very awkward scene takes place.
I don't remember this.
Okay, I don't want to re-traumatize you with this. One other interesting fact about Sean Astin and Brendan Fraser, apparently neither of them really were super enthused about signing on to this film.
Really?
So Fraser at the time had just got done with School Ties, which, for anybody that's not familiar,
it's not dark. Sorry, it's a very
serious,
deep.
It's a very deep, serious film about a guy he doesn't come from wealth. He comes from a fairly middle class background, but he's very good at football. So he's invited to go to this private school, preparatory academy. The problem is that he's Jewish.
Yeah.
And people find out that he's Jewish, and they basically start kind of messing with him.
Yeah, because you find out that almost the entire school is anti-Semitic.
Oh yeah, it's really bad. So it's a very hard film to watch, and it's actually got Matt Damon.
Yeah, Matt Damon. I think Ethan Hawke's in it too, isn't he? No,
he's not Ethan Hawke. But yeah, there's
quite a few well-known.
Yeah, quite a few well-known famous people in this film, and that's where Fraser saw himself as a performer, a serious guy. So then they come to him with this, and he's kind of like, I think I'm more of a serious thespian, but they were able to convince him, and I don't really think I found anything that suggested why Brendan signed on, but apparently that helped.
Sean?
No. Brendan signed on, and then Sean found out that Brendan signed on, was like, okay, I might be more interested in this. He didn't sign on right away, because I believe Sean Astin's exact words were that the script was, quote unquote, a piece of shit. He wasn't wrong, but yeah. But ultimately, Sean signed, and actually, and this is kind of messed up, but we got to talk about it. He found out Pauly Shore was going to be involved, and Astin didn't know anything about Pauly Shore. And I think in retrospect, Astin would probably be like, yeah, that was something I thought about him when I first saw him, and obviously I prejudged him, because clearly they seem to have a good relationship now. But when he first went and checked out who Pauly Shore was from like his MTV VJ days to see the kind of person that had signed on to this, he was like, yeah, I'm not doing this film. But they promised him like a a 3-option deal. They gave him a directing project. They upped the money, and then eventually Sean Astin's like, sure, I'll sign on. You know, this guy was a big star at the time, obviously. They really wanted him to be in the role. So it made sense. So now we're going to get to finally move on to some of the other people that were in this film that are not our major stars, but definitely still, you know, good supporting cast here. So we have Megan Ward, who plays Robin Sweeney. She's the love interest, you know. She was in PCU. Do you remember that one?
No. That's
the college one with, what is his name? The Jeremy guy from Entourage.
Nope.
All right, then. Fantastic. She was in Joe's Apartment, Dark Skies, and she has like a slew of TV appearances. Yeah. Like you'll see her all over the place. Then we have Robin Tooney, who plays Ella, which is Robin's best friend in the film. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you'll recognize her. She was in The Craft, Empire Records, End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger. She was in a good chunk of the Prison Break television show, as well as The Mentalist. Yeah. So pretty famous actor there. And then Michael DeLuise. Can you take a wild guess whose son he is?
Does it start with a D?
It does start with a D. It starts with a D and ends with an om.
Delam. Yes, yeah.
Yes, of course. Delam DeLuise. So, Michael DeLuise, son of Dom DeLuise. This is honestly one of the only films I literally remember him from, but apparently he was in Wayne's World. I don't remember him from that, but I do remember him from Gilmore Girls. He plays Luke's sister's husband. So, you know, and he's kind of fun. He's an interesting, you know, addition to the cast.
He's a goofy bastard.
He is, but, you know, in this film, he's our school bully and Robin's boyfriend. Mm-hmm. So, now, these next 3 are not major players in the cast at all. They have very small roles, but they are all 3 very much worth mentioning. Yeah. First, we have Ki Huan Kwan, and he plays a character called Kim. And I think everybody's going to remember that this is the other Oscar winner major comeback story. Most recently, he was in Everything Everywhere All at Once, for which he was awarded the Best Supporting Actor at the Academy Awards. He was also in The Goonies. So this is actually this is the only time, so him with Sean Astin, there's a couple scenes where they appear together. It is the only time that 2 of the cast members from the original Goonies have appeared together.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
That is interesting.
I didn't think that would be possible. Like, because there's got so many stars in there. Like, you're telling me 2 of these guys never got in the same room together for an acting project ever again? That's nuts.
That's interesting to me.
You don't, like, I almost want to look this, like, dig really deep and try to disprove this, because it just seems impossible.
It seems like, I mean, it kind of makes sense, though.
It does. You're right. It does. They all went very different directions.
Wait, they're talking about the core group of the Goonies, like the actual Goonies, right?
That's my assumption, yes. Like, I don't know if they're including, you know, every swinging dick that was involved in the Goonies, but yeah, that's my understanding, is that the core cast, the main cast of the Goonies, no 2 of them have ever really acted in the same scenes together in a film before again, except for these 2, and that was in Encino Man. And the amazing part is, he won his award recently, you know, after being in Everything Everywhere All at Once, after a 20-year furlough.
I remember reading about that whenever I was looking him up.
I think he stopped acting like 2002, and then he comes back with this. And his speech at the awards was, you know, was amazing. It was moving. It was incredible. And it's just been such an awesome experience seeing his return to performing. It just such a cool story. Next, Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Charmed.
That's right. Charmed, Doom Generation. She was also apparently in Biodome. Did you know this? I don't remember.
Yeah, she was.
Who was she in Biodome?
I think was she one of the main girls?
I don't know, because the main girls were Joey Lawrence, and who was the other one? Was it Rose McGowan? I don't remember. I don't remember her in Biodome at all. But she was also in Jawbreaker, The Grindhouse, and this was actually her first film. So,
really?
Yeah. I mean, she had a couple of credits before this, but I think they were like television or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is her first film. And she really just plays these, like, she's part of this couple of, like, pairing of girls that's just admiring Link from afar and just offering context of, like, the transition of people thinking he's weird to people thinking Link is the coolest guy in school. Yeah. That's it. That's, like, her only purpose for existing in this film.
So how long after this did Scream come out? Because she was in Scream as well.
When was Scream? Wasn't that like 1996?
I don't know.
You're really gonna make me look this up right now? Wait, she was in Scream?
Yeah, she was in Scream.
You're in Scream.
1996. Yeah, so I guess that was the year for her. Was 1996.
4 years later. So yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, that was her first film. And then I do want to mention this guy, Rick Ducommun, and he plays the teacher, Mr. Brush.
I'm assuming he's not very common.
Oh, he's incredibly common. Well, unfortunately, he's not very common anymore. He did pass away in 2015.
Oh, okay. That's unfortunate.
And I'm sorry, I did actually say 3. There's actually a couple more in here I forgot about. And these guys are amazing. I can't wait to talk about them. But so Rick Ducommun, the reason I'm bringing him up is you definitely know who this guy is. Like, you've seen him. If you watched a movie prior to 2015, you saw him in something. He was in Groundhog's Day. He was in Spaceballs. He was in The Burbs with Tom Hanks. Die Hard, Little Monsters, Hunt for Red October, Class Act, Gremlins 2, The Last Boy Scout. He was in everything. He was just the man loved to work, and he was in some really big titles with some really big names. And I just thought it was really cool that he appeared in this film, and I just loved the fact that this is a face that I recognize constantly, but I never realized what his name is because he does a great job of like, hey, I'm going to be the fill-in guy for this type of scene. Go ahead and put me where you need me, but you're never going to know who I am because I'm never going to be the main guy in a film.
Well, what's funny is that we literally just had a conversation about Scream. He was the parody of the dad in Scary Movie.
Yes, that was it. Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, exactly. Next one, and I love this. It's Eric Avari, plays Raji, the convenience store worker. Convenience store worker 1, we'll call him. And he was in The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. He's I think like the one of the museum guys.
Oh, okay.
He was also in Mr. Deeds.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
He was I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy.
He was the curator of the museum in The Mummy 2.
Yes, that's him.
Yeah.
That's him. 152 credits in a variety of TV shows. Just, he's very recognizable. A little bit typecast, unfortunately, but, I just thought it was so cool that he was in this movie, and I had completely forgotten that he was in this. And the final one, and I'm only mentioning this for the one credit, it's Jerry Bednopp, and he's got plenty of, credits to his name, but he plays the other convenience store worker, Kashmir. And this is Mooj from 40-Year-Old Virgin. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah.
The guy's like... he's
the quote that we make all the time.
Yes. The whole speech Mooj gives in 40-Year-Old Virgin is just... It's so awful and so wonderful. Yeah. But yeah, that's why I had to include him, because like, oh my God, that's Mooj from 40-Year-Old Virgin. Holy shit.
Yeah. And I just realized I completely messed up the last actor, by the way. He was just in the first Mummy, not the second Mummy. I was like,
yeah. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah, we're on track. So now before we get into the actual film, and we're almost there, I promise, we're almost there.
We're getting there, guys.
We're getting there. We got to talk about the lingo.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And there's actually a name for this. Have you heard of it? I think I said it.
Polyspeak.
Yeah. Like I didn't know we had a moniker for this.
Mm-hmm.
So Pauly Shore was a California dude force to be reckoned with in the 90s, and he had a very unique way of talking. A lot of times it was just kind of like sounds like, the weasel thing. Or that's what he did. Or he would just be like, buddy. He would really draw his words out. Yeah. And that was his thing.
It's the Leaning Tower of Cheesa.
And that's how he spoke. Well, he also had kind of his own language, little words that he would use. And so we're going to go through some of these. And AJ, I think it's time for another round of Can AJ Guess What It Means?
Yeah, okay. I'm not even going to look. I know the notes.
You put those notes down. All right. Yeah, all right. We're going to see how well let's see how well you can poly speak.
Okay.
Crusty.
That means you're gross.
Yeah, like you're unkept, or maybe, and not even necessarily gross like you are physically gross.
No, it just means you're looking a little disheveled right now.
Looking disheveled, or it can also just mean that from a popularity standpoint, because in this film she thinks you're crusty, Dave. It's because she thinks he is unworthy. So it can even really it can kind of mean unworthy as well. Clean.
It means you look nice.
Yeah, you look hot. Yeah, hot. Yeah. She is so clean. Melon. I think that was
your head.
Beak.
That's your nose.
Yeah. Wheezing or to wheeze.
This is very specific because it means that you are. I don't know if he does it with everything, but he's wheezing the jet
Wheezing the Joes.
And it's whenever you like stick your mouth underneath the nozzle of a Slurpee and you're drinking it.
That is a very specific example, and you're on the right track. It means to partake in or take advantage of.
Oh, okay.
I love that I'm giving these these definitions myself. I didn't look this up, so this is me Websterizing polyspeak right now.
Okay.
I want that noted. Betty,
a woman,
yeah. Cones, gazongas, or nugs.
Those are, I think they're mammary glands.
That is such a nice way to put it. Yes, those would be women's breasts.
Yes.
Grindage.
Food.
Yeah.
I say this all the time, though.
Don't tax my gig so hardcore, Cruster.
Don't get mad at me, sir.
Kinda, yeah. Don't get on my case so much.
Yeah.
Don't tax my gig so hardcore, Cruster. And then, of course, Gracie.
You look nice.
Kinda.
No. Put it in. Can you use it in the form of a sentence?
You fuck. Oh my god, I love you. So when they first see Link, he looks at me and goes, "Dad, he is so greasy."
Country of origin.
Polyland. I don't fucking.
I don't know. Hot. I don't know.
Hot, yes. Buff or attractive. Yes.
Okay.
Country of origin. Get the fuck out of here. Oh god. Oh. Interestingly, and this kind of comes into the polyspeak, the filmmakers actually offered the role of Link the Caveman to Pauly Shore originally, which Pauly Shore didn't think really made sense because, he realized that the caveman doesn't really speak much, right? And he's only going to be really repeating things other people say. And he actually thought the film would lose the appeal of his humor and his unique polyspeak. So they rewrote the original character of Harold as Stony Brown, and they gave that role to Link to Pauly. So yeah, I thought that was fun that the character we see Pauly Shore playing in this film was pretty much written for him, because the original character was nothing like Stony.
Interesting. I think that's pretty cool.
That is pretty neat. And before we jump right into the plot here, I'm just going to note that what do you think this film was called in Europe?
Didn't we have a thing like this? We were just watching we were watching a series where it was like alternatives to movies. Yeah. Iceman.
I think that would have been a good one, but no, it was actually California Man, because apparently they thought nobody in Europe would know what the fuck Encino was.
I have my own little polyspeak for you.
Oh, give me some
because that's one of my favorite quotes in the whole movie.
Let's have it.
If you're edged because I'm wheezing off your grindage, just chill. Because if I had the whole Brady Bunch thing happen at my pad, I go grind over there. What the fuck does that mean?
He's saying, if you're upset that I'm constantly coming over and eating all your food, just chill, because if my parents were cool like your parents and had this whole really nice house thing going on, I'd be eating at home instead.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's my favorite quote in the whole movie.
I'm going to be a Pauly Shore translator. I wonder if there's a job. Pauly, reach out to my people. Have my people talk to your people.
No, but for real, if you ever want to come on this podcast, for sure, we'd have you in a second.
Yeah, I would totally grind on, or I would totally.
He could grind on some toast.
He could munch on some toast grindage.
That was so bad. Let's get into the plot.
So here we go. Getting into the plot. First off, they had $7 million and 33 days to shoot this film.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh my god!
I told you the Disney didn't have a lot of confidence in this film. This was a very much going to be a throwaway comedy.
They're like, yeah, just go to Encino and shoot the damn thing.
Pretty much, right? And the film winds up making $40 million for them. They wind up quadrupling their freaking money. It's like, come on, you got Pauly Shore, Brendan Fraser, and Sean Astin. What you guys think was going to happen? Of course you're going to make money. It's outstanding. Come on now. Come with me, AJ, as we open in the Ice Age. Not feeling it? All right, fine. So we're in the Ice Age, and there's Brendan Fraser, and he's chilling with his, as Pauly puts it, his cave nug. Which is weird because now that we know polyspeak, we know that means cave boob.
It's okay.
Just seems diminutive. It just seems diminishing, but that's fine. So Chillin is chilling in the cave with, what appears to be a cave woman. And an earthquake happens, and he gets buried. And as of course we're going to find out, he's clearly encapsulated in ice at this point, and this is what preserves him. I will make a note though. This is just something I know. That's not a thing. If a person becomes encapsulated in ice, it causes their blood cells to expand, which would make it impossible for you to be reanimated. That's why we can't do it that way.
If you're Brendan Fraser, it works.
Well, yeah, okay. If you're Brendan Fraser, the laws of physics don't apply to you. The laws of biology aren't inapplicable. So fast forward, and Samwise Gamgee is awoken by an earthquake.
What the fuck did you just say?
So Sean Astin, or
Samwise Gamgee?
Gamgee, is that how it's pronounced?
Yes.
Okay, I clearly watched those films. I actually did, but it's been 20 years since those came out.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
this is not that movie.
So, we are now in the quote unquote present, 1992 for our purposes here. And Sean Astin, Dave, he's in bed, he's awoken by an earthquake. And we're going to see that the earthquake is what kind of helps bring along certain plot points in the film. And the film moves really fast. So if you think that you're like, wait a minute, did we miss something here? Is there a continuity error? No, we just kind of move right.
Yeah, it's a really quick movie.
It is. Flash to Dave is now in his backyard in a giant hole because he's digging a pool because he thinks that, he'll be able to make a lot of friends at prom in his senior year, because this is his senior year of high school.
It didn't, like, the thing was with his parents, like, he had to dig the pool by himself. They wouldn't build one, but he could do it himself.
I don't remember if they even have that. I think they were honestly just annoyed that it was happening, but they just didn't want to be involved.
Oh, okay.
The parents seem very, like, I don't want to get too deep into the parents,
but they were kind of like,
they just don't care. They're very busy.
They were
in their
90s
own lives.
parents.
Yeah, they're 90s, hands-off parents. They don't care what's going on in their kids' lives. It's like, please leave me alone. I'm trying to build a career here, right? So Pauly Shore comes in and, joins him, but he's not going to help him dig the hole, because in this, Pauly Shore's very kind of a,
he's a surfer guy.
He's a surfer dude, but he's also very opposed to manual labor. You can tell that, which is kind of fun. So in these 5 minutes, we kind of get a data dump. Sean Astin and Pauly Shore are losers. Their high school, their high school time is ending. Astin wants to go out with a bang. Astin also wants to take someone who we're going to find out is Robin Sweeney to the prom, and he's digging the pool because somehow this will be the key to all of this.
Why do you keep calling him Astin? I thought his name was Dave.
Well, Dave, Astin. I mean, I'm going to interchange these constantly to confuse our audience, because that's just the thing I do. And then, according to Stoney, or Pauly Shore, according to Stoney, Robin finds Dave crusty. So it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because remember, crusty is not good.
She finds you crusty, Dave.
So now we cut to class, and a teacher is telling us about Cro-Magnon Man. And the reason we're doing this is literally to set up the fact that we're about to meet a Cro-Magnon Man.
Yeah.
It's literally why we're doing it. And what he's saying is that the Cro-Magnon Man would have been indistinguishable from modern day humans. That's what he's telling us. And that's our setup, to say, hey, by the way, we're about to introduce a character who's a caveman, but this is why it's okay that he looks exactly like everybody else and nobody can tell that he's a fucking caveman. So now we're back at the pool, and we discover in the pool is a bowl, and apparently Stoney's aversion to manual labor does not translate to his intelligence, because he super loves Jeopardy. And apparently there's just a thing with Pauly Shore, like he also did that in Jury Duty. And he likes integrating Jeopardy. I don't know if he's just a really big Jeopardy fan himself or what.
Yeah, because he doesn't like the exact type of bowl that he finds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he says, this is the bowl. And then, of course, we find Brendan Fraser on ice. Because that's just awesome. Who wouldn't want to find a Brendan Fraser in their backyard? I would.
I wouldn't want him in my backyard. I want him at my dinner table. But that's just me.
I mean, I don't want him to be uncomfortable. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want him to have to be in ice or buried in the backyard. Who wouldn't want to find a Brendan Fraser in their house? Let's say
exactly.
There we go. So they decide to thaw him out, as you mentioned earlier, with heaters.
I thought that what they wanted, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know. It wasn't it that they were trying to sell him to a museum, though? Because he wanted to get money for something?
That was the idea, and that's how he convinces Stoney. That's how Dave convinces Stoney to come on this journey with him. Because he's like,
we could sell him, we could get this.
You telling me you couldn't use a new scooter? Some new bell bottoms? A little fundage. Wheeze some older nugs with a mansion and a pool. Soaking up the rays. Watching all the jeopardy you can handle.
Yeah, and that's, yeah, exactly. So that was the idea, was to sell it, because, you know, they're probably thinking the same thing anybody would be thinking. The being that is encapsulated in ice here is not alive.
No.
He's obviously dead. So first they think to thaw him out, which is interesting because I think in our modern day lens, you would sit there to think to yourself, don't thaw him out. Are you insane? That'll like completely destroy the integrity of the find.
Exactly.
So it's interesting that their thought was, oh no, we got to get him out of the ice.
We got to thaw him out first.
So they stick him in the garage with heaters all around him, because that's how you thaw 30,000 or 2 million, whatever the number is supposed to be of ice. I don't know. I'm not looking that up. I refused. So two things simultaneously happen here. So Dave is at school, and we're getting introduced to the bully. The bully confronts him because he's talking to Robin, heaven forbid, and confronts him in the hallway and staples him to a wall and then pulls the fire alarm so that everybody will come out and see him stapled to the wall. While that's happening, we as the audience get to see that Link, or the person who's going to become Link, Brendan Fraser, our caveman, has thawed, and he's woken up in the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of going around, and in the scene, let's see here, he attacks a mailman, he attacks a garbage truck, he watches the Terminator, he learns an Aboriginal dance, and he finger paints all the walls in Dave's house.
Well, I never understood why he was so, like, dirty. I didn't get that part.
I assume
he was like, it was like supposed to be like clay or something like that on him. I don't know.
I don't know if it was. I didn't really understand that either, because clearly the suggestion is that he was. I mean, maybe we're trying to suggest that he was maybe like an Aboriginal. I don't really know how that would have shifted to Florida. Like, that's the thing. I'm going to suspend it. I'm not going to try to explain.
It's Encino Man.
Why Brendan Fraser. I'm also not going to try to explain why he's a fucking white as snow Brendan Fraser from that era. Like, that doesn't make sense to me either. But suffice it to say, he's going around causing some major havoc. So the boys get home, and they, of course, discover all this is going on. At first they think that the body is gone. They think that it just completely melted because there's nothing there. Mm-hmm. And then as they start going around the house, they realize, I'm based off the symbols we see on the wall. They don't go this deep, obviously. It's just kind of, they scream because it's a 90s movie. But I think the subtext is saying, Watson, based off the scribblings on the wall, I do believe that our caveman has reanimated. He's in the house, and he's like jumping around, and he's kind of being aggressive, and they're a little scared, right?
Well, he's like building a fucking fire in his room.
He was trying to, yeah. He was trying to. The caveman gets kind of, wide-eyed and starts to like charge at Dave. And we're kind of seeing this from Dave's perspective, like, the camera's moving in on Dave, and then out of nowhere a lighter comes up because Stoney has like put a lighter in front of Dave's face and clicked it so that the fire comes out. And Brendan, as the caveman, is just mesmerized. He's like, ooh, fire. Because, he has to work really hard to make fire.
He's just like, oh.
Yeah. His noises are great. Just, oh. Fun fact about that. Apparently, Brendan got his inspiration for, kind of the way he went about this, because he wasn't really able to speak, from Buster Keaton.
Really?
Isn't that fun? Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good way to go about it. Go back to, silent film era. Makes sense. So Stoney placates him with a lighter, and he's, he says one of those famous lines.
He is so greasy.
Of course, discovering this millions or hundreds of thousands or whatever it is year-old individual in their home, they do what anyone would do. They set about to bathe him, clothe him, enroll him in high school.
Yeah, as you do.
As one does. And Fraser actually, do you remember, that he's like popping the bath beads in his mouth? Like, apparently he was actually doing that.
Really?
Yeah. He barely had a little bucket like by the bathtub, and he was like spitting them out for each of the takes.
That's hilarious.
The man is committed to his art.
Yeah, he is.
He's a true thespian. So they decided to name him Link, as in missing link. Do you remember this concept from the 90s?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I should probably explain that to our audience. So in the 90s, we were really starting to make strides with building the body of evidence for evolution. And there was always this concept of the quote-unquote missing link in evolution, like the thing that didn't allow us to bridge the gap between, ape and man, what have you. We've obviously since been able to bridge those gaps by finding more archaeological evidence, but that was the moniker that was given to that idea of the missing piece of our evolutionary line. It was called the missing link.
Well, Bigfoot is always called the missing link because they're like, yeah, that would be what.
Oh, sure. Yeah, exactly too. Yes. And yeah, Bigfoot is obviously referred to that as well. Absolutely. So, they've got him in the clothes and they're like super baggy because that was just kind of the style. Mm-hmm. Another fun fact. Fraser, did you know this? He's 6'3".
Yeah.
I did not know that.
He's a giant.
He is a giant of a man. And apparently they had clothes set out for him to, put on him, make him look baggy or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he gets on set and they're like, yeah, that's not going to work because he's too damn big. So Marie France, who was the costume designer on the film, she had to specially create clothes for Fraser to make this work.
Because he's so big.
Because he's just so huge.
That's fucking hilarious.
It's amazing.
That's so awesome. Great, though.
They convince the parents, because obviously they're going to come home and they discover him. They convince him that he's an exchange student. And this kind of goes back to what you were talking earlier, how they don't really seem to be involved in the lives of their children.
Yeah.
They're able to convince them that he's an exchange student and that they totally told them about it at some point.
See, they gaslit the whole fucking parents.
They fucking totally did, yeah. And the parents are just like, I think I do remember something about this.
It's like, I do. Well, he's like, he's got to stay here, blah, blah, blah. I remember this.
Ugh. I don't think it was this scene. I think it was later, but, there's some dinner scenes that take place at home because obviously we want to see the hilarity that ensues when the caveman tries to eat at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Do you remember him eating dog food?
Yeah. Because he goes over there next to the dog and the dog's like, wait, what?
He was like shoving the dog out of the way to get to the food. Do you know what that was?
What?
It's Cookie Crisp.
Really? That's so cool. I love Cookie Crisp.
Fraser was just, chilling out on the ground, having a bowl of Cookie Crisp.
That's fucking great.
So there's quite a bit that takes place here, but I'm going to kind of fast forward it a little bit. The next few scenes, it's kind of a montage. We're introducing Link to school, convenience stores where we get to meet those.
Whiz in the Jews.
Whiz in the Jews.
Because there's that scene with the microwave burrito as well. Like they put it in there, he doesn't eat it. It's like hot on the outside, cold on the inside.
Yeah, because the two guys in the convenience store are arguing over like how long you should leave it in.
Yeah.
And so then Link eats it and Shore tries to take a bite of it and it's too cold. Yeah. But of course it doesn't matter to Link. He's from the Ice Age. He doesn't care. So Robin's attractive friend, Ella, the one that's played by Robin Tooney. It's kind of confusing because the character's name of the love interest is Robin, but then her friend Ella is played by a woman named Robin.
That's confusing as shit.
A little confusing, but so Robin, the character Robin's friend, the character named Ella, she's like totally into Stoney because he like comes up and he's like just manhandling her and she's totally into it. So she tells the other
Stoney or Link?
Sorry, Link. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, what?
It's funny you say that because in the film, at one point, Stoney wanted to name Link Stoney number 2 because he was from the Stone Age. So yeah, this is going to get confusing. I like that. So she tells Stoney to bring Link to Blades because they're going to have a date. And because everybody in Southern California is apparently really big into hockey, I guess.
That was a big thing in the 90s. Like,
was it really?
You had like Mighty Ducks.
That's a good point.
Airborne had hockey. Everyone fucking loved hockey. I don't know what it was.
Okay. Fair point. Quite a bit happens at Blades, but nothing of real significance other than the fact that we find Link becomes obsessed with a game called Radmobile. Becomes a big part of his characterization. And that Ella is just not really going to make that connection with Link because it's kind of Link's making these drawings, like cave type drawings.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, on a glass, and he refers to her as Betty Nuggs because he's been hanging. Because he's been hanging out with Pauly Shore, and so that's all he knows how to. That's the only way he knows how to describe a woman, But we kind of get the impression he's talking about the cave woman that we were alluding to earlier. That there is actually like some sort of relationship there. So this isn't going to work out. But once again, the bully Matt decides to start picking on Dave, pulls him on the ice, starts messing with him, and Link comes out there to come to his aid.
Yeah, remember this.
And Matt, the bully, punches him. And that's really it. He takes it and he's like, oh, what was that? And he walks away.
Well, he looks like upset, and he looks like he's just like about to cry almost a little bit, because he's just like
more just confused, I think. Because I think he's just, which is odd, because you'd think in a tribal existence, he might have to contend with having to, be aggressive with other, potential tribe members in other places. But, in this case, he just kind of gets confused and walks away. And Stoney tries to explain to Dave, because Dave is super upset about this, right? Because he's like, well, why didn't he fight him back and stand up for us for popularity? And Stoney's trying to explain to him, like, dude, that's not how he fought for survival. He fought for existence. He didn't fight for, being the most popular kid in school. That wasn't his existence. And this is where, we kind of see sprinklings of this all along, and I'm going to say it because I think it needs to be said. Dave is a dick.
Yeah, I kind of got that throughout the movie. There's a scene later I'm pretty sure we'll get to where you can see that Link is trying to contend with the fact that he's in the newer age. He loves that he's there, but then he has a moment where he realizes what he's left behind in the past, and he gets upset, and Dave just doesn't care at all.
He doesn't, yeah. And it seems that Stoney is very in tune with Link's feelings. He's empathetic to Link's plight. He wants Link to have fun in exploring this new world that Link finds himself in, but at the same time, he understands that this is hard on him. Whereas Dave only sees him as at first he was, as a frozen artifact. He was nothing more than potential money. And now that he's out, he's nothing more than the key to Dave's popularity.
Exactly.
He never really, until we get to almost the very end, he just refuses to see Link as a person.
Exactly.
And it's kind of messed up.
And it's unfortunate because Stoney really thinks of Link as a friend, and Link thinks of Dave as a friend, but it almost seems to me Dave doesn't really he thinks that Stoney is a friend to him, but he also mistreats Stoney as well.
He does. That's a good point. Yeah, he doesn't really. He takes a couple of digs at Stoney throughout the film that are kind of messed up. You know, whenever Stoney is saying something about Dave that might be considered disparaging, he's usually doing it as a reflection of what other people think.
Exactly.
Like, she thinks you're crusty, whereas Dave's comments towards Stoney are kind of directed directly at him from Dave. And you're right. He doesn't treat his own friend with a lot of respect.
It's almost as if he's frustrated with his own situation, so he views himself as a little bit more popular than Stoney.
He seems to think so,
that's not the case. He's at the bottom of the totem pole.
Which is funny because Stoney reminds him, he's like, actually, I'm really popular, even though he's not. Neither of them are.
Well, it's just funny because, I don't know where this inflated sense of ego comes from, but it's almost as if he got this ego from Stoney because Stoney is his friend. And if you look at how Stoney interacts with everyone in the school, people don't dislike Stoney. They all know Stoney.
They tolerate him, but you're right. They don't seem to have a general oh, screw this guy. It's more just oh God, here's Stoney, almost like how we all felt about Pauly Shore in the 90s. Oh, Pauly's just being Pauly.
Yeah. Because he comes through because he's got that, what is it? It's not a motorcycle, but a scooter.
Moped. Yeah, he's
got the moped. And that's a thing that Stoney gets used for, is his method of transportation.
That's a good point too. Yeah, that's true. He kind of drives Dave everywhere. Yeah. So because of this, we have two developments. Robin breaks up with Matt over this. Yeah. She's not a bad character. She clearly has found herself wanting popularity, but she does have her limits. She has a moral compass, and she's not okay with the way Matt treats people.
Exactly.
And this has kind of been her final straw, and decides, Now it's a little messed up because she's watched him almost torture Dave through most of the film, and you can tell this is a pattern of abuse, and that never bothered her. And it isn't until he struck Link that now all of a sudden she's like, well, I've had just about enough of this.
Well, I mean, I wonder if it has to go back to, because it seems that Dave is constantly trying to pursue her, and she knows that he's pursuing her.
Almost like she thinks that he kind of deserves it for not respecting that boundary. Kind of, maybe.
Didn't they used to be friends or something like that?
They were friends as kids, yeah, because he gives her the photo of them nude in the bathtub together. And of course she's super embarrassed by it. But yeah, that's an interesting thought, that she might have almost tolerated Matt's abuse of Dave because of Dave's refusal to accept that her and Dave were never going to happen. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a good point. The other development here is Dave and Stoney realize they got to teach Link to fight. So
I love this scene.
So cue the montage. we introduce Link to WWE, kung fu movies, and boxing matches. I think my favorite scene in this is Dave holds out a board for Link to break, and Link grabs Dave's hands and shoves the board back and breaks it against Dave's head. It's like, see, it's like you can see the evolution there. It's like, okay,
evolution.
He's problem solving. He's thinking, okay, I could break this with my head, which is clearly what Dave wants, or I could work smarter and break it on Dave's head.
Exactly.
So now back at school, Link is the big man on campus. Apparently, everybody is now thinking that Link is the coolest because typically when Matt attacks someone, they're kind of on the ground, they're cowering, or he, puts them in a very compromising situation. Whereas with Link, he punched him and Link just stood there. He
just took it.
Yeah, and they were impressed by that. They were impressed that he didn't back down or falter. He's getting a lot of accolades. He's joining all the clubs. He's meeting Kim, and he's part of the computer club because it's a 90s, so we have some somewhat stereotypical things that happen with characters, but neither here nor there. So next we kind of have to remind the audience that he is in fact a caveman because we're starting to lose track of that. So they go to a museum of natural history, and Link starts to kind of piece it all together. And this is where we kind of start to realize Link hasn't really understood what's been going on. It's like you almost have to wonder, did Link think he just woke up in the same time period, but in a different location?
Yeah.
That's just better than where he was. But then going to this museum and looking around and seeing bones and displays, and he starts piecing it all together, and he realizes this is the past. What's in this museum is these people think of as the past. I woke up in a different time. Like, this is the first time he's grasping the concept that he didn't wake up in a different place. He woke up in a different time. And he starts to freak out. He goes into one of the displays where it's clearly a familiarity to him, where it's, a kind of a caveman setting. And he sets out to start trying to build a fire because he needs something familiar. And this is where we start to see Stoney's ability to really empathize, because he, of course, comes over and he tries to comfort him. And Dave is there, and Dave's a dick. And he's not really comforting Link very well. But Stoney, of course, is trying to really offer him some comfort. And he's trying to explain to Dave why this is such a big problem. And Dave, of course, just cannot grasp.
Yeah.
But this is a comedy, so we're going to move on from that immediately. So, like, seriously. The very next scene, Link is going to driver's ed, because we're just over that, and now it's time to get back to the funny. Let's see what happens if a caveman had to be in driver's ed. So Robin is in the car, and Link jumps in the car, and he starts driving it, because he's like, yeah, Ratmobile! Which is great, because Stoney and Dave are in class, and they look outside and they see the car going nuts, and they look at each other and they both exclaim, Radmobile, because they know what he's thinking.
Yeah, what he's doing.
So they get out there, and the car is on two wheels, and Dave and Stoney have to try to find their way into the car, and hilarity ensues. So, of course, that whole scene plays out,
but Link is just laughing.
Link's loving it. He's taking his hands off the wheels. He's having a good old time. He's like, oh, this is fun. Look at this. He doesn't know any better. So they for some reason decided to drive this car to a bar, and it's like I wouldn't say it's a Mexican bar. We have some Hispanic characters there, so I don't think because there's other characters that are not Hispanic, because I think the bartender is Jamaican.
Yeah.
So I think,
but there's like, I think there was a couple guys in there that seemed like they were from like maybe a Latino gang or something.
Yeah, like I think that's what they were trying to get at, was like a Latino gang. But either way, they get in there and they're all having a good time. And actually, one of my favorite things is Link trying to speak Spanish.
El queso está viejo y podrido. ¿Dónde está el sanitario?
And so the translation of that is, he's saying, the cheese is old and moldy. Where is the bathroom, apparently?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
And so the Hispanic guy's like, yeah, man, she's not worth it. And then he gets slapped and starts crying. It's just, so much ridiculousness happens in this scene.
Well, so it's funny because he's just like, this, and this, and this. It's just funny because he just says it all in one sentence. And then that's how they interpret what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah. So much is happening in the scene, but it kind of boils down to Robin is trying to get Dave to loosen up, because Robin, of course, is there. We've got Robin, Stoney, Link, and Dave all there. And Robin's trying to get Dave to kind of, loosen up, have some fun, party a little. Stoney is being coerced, let's not say forced. He's being coerced into taking shots with the Latino gang.
I love this so much because he's teaching him his fucking lingo.
He's teaching all the Hispanic guys the lingo, so, it's fun. He's teaching them poly speak.
Well, wasn't there a dance scene between, like, Robin and Link that Dave seemed to get, like, jealous about?
Sort of. They kind of do the conga, but this whole time Dave is getting kind of jealous, because clearly Robin is showing some favoritism towards Link. But we'll get there. While all this is happening, Matt, the bully, is trying to find out more about Link because he doesn't like that Link has become this popular. So he goes to try to steal his records out of, the cabinet in the school. And he finds that the only thing in his records is an application for a dog license. Which, honestly, based off how dirty he was when he first arrived, that could really be a thing. He may have actually needed a flea dip. I'm not sure.
He's from Estonia, you never know what that
right? So when the cops show up at the bar, Dave and Link get arrested, and they wind up having to go to, the county lockup or wherever they go. Robin and Stoney get a ride home from the Latino gang. They've all, really kind of come close, and it's, whatever have you. So while there, Dave uses that opportunity to call Robin and ask her to prom. And this is where we start to see that jealousy that you're talking about and where it really manifests. Because she says she wants to go with Link. Link's the big man on campus now. Link's the person she wants to hang out with. And this, of course, makes Dave really upset. So they get out of jail, and Dave tries to abandon Link in the middle of the road somewhere. Like, just gives him
that's it.
Yeah, gives him a pocket full of change and some clothes and sends him on his way. And just a complete, again, Dave's a dick. I do not like Dave's character in this film at all. He's a complete and utter dick.
Yeah.
I really don't think he gets redemption in my opinion.
No, I remember watching this. It almost seems as if he gets what he wants in the end, and that's what makes him a good character. But that's what I hate. He does. He gets what he wants in the end. Let's ruin it right now. He gets Robin in the end. Yeah.
And they get to kiss. And it's like, screw you. And he gets to have the big party with his pool.
Yeah, but in this scene, it's bullshit because he drops Link off. Stoney understands what he's going to do. If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, you're done.
But then doesn't Dave punch Stoney?
They don't show it, interestingly enough, but I think, yes, that is what happens, because they kind of just like...
Because Stoney was bleeding, right?
Yes, exactly. And it's weird, because it's actually, it's Link that comes back and breaks up this fight when Stoney shows up to stop Dave from abandoning Link. Mm-hmm. And Link breaks up the fight, and he actually takes the blood. And I didn't notice this until I rewatched it for this episode. He takes the blood off of Stoney's face, and he shows it to Dave, like, look what you've done. Look what you've been driven to. You need to stop. And it's just so much is communicated in that. It was pretty amazing.
And then he hugs them both and brings them all together.
Yeah. And then they bangs their head together and they all have a laugh, and everything's fine, because again, it's a comedy. We got to get past these moments. So now it's time to go to prom. And Robin had kind of offshoot mentioned when Dave showed that he was clearly upset with the idea of her going to prom with Link instead. Like, well, why don't we all go together? It'll be fun. And she seems to kind of still be trying to push this idea as if she actually wants that, and you can tell she doesn't. But she shows up to pick up Link for the prom. Dave, of course, is not ready. He's like, no, you two go. And I don't know if that's what the filmmakers are trying to give us as his redemption, because he's like, no, I shall let Link date the girl of my dreams. I am a better man now. Like, that's not enough. He's been a complete piece of garbage this film. Screw that guy. But they go, and Matt shows up at Dave's house and breaks into his room while Dave is downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he steals the photos, and I didn't mention this before, but they had taken photos of the ice, and that, it had melted, and then, talked about Link being the caveman in these Polaroids. A Polaroid, for anybody that doesn't know, was a film device that allowed you to take photos and then immediately receive a product of a physical copy of the photo.
They have those, right? They came back.
They came back?
It's a big thing on like TikTok and all that.
Oh, that's...
So you're explaining this, and people are like, we know what the fuck these are. These are new.
Okay, so then let me explain it like this. That's all we had. It was the Polaroid camera, or you could take traditional photos and then have to drop them off at
go get them
at a 1 hour photo. And then if you had a 1 hour photo, if not, you might have to wait a couple days. So Link and Robin go to the prom. Matt has stolen these photos. And so, of course, Dave and Stoney realize they have to go after them. Matt shows up, and it's a great scene. And I'm just going to play the bit of this that makes sense here.
Do you want to know the truth? Yeah. Do you want to know what he really is? Yeah. He's a caveman.
Lose their fucking minds. It's ridiculous.
It's great because they're just like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Because I don't
they
know.
Don't care. They're high schoolers.
Exactly. And they probably don't even believe this anyway. What a ridiculous story.
I mean, you got to think Matt hit Link and then Link got popular. So he's like, he's a caveman. Maybe they just thought, oh no, he's different than me. Maybe that's what they thought.
I don't know.
Or maybe the caveman was a lingo back then.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was maybe it's polyspeak that we're not clear about.
Yeah.
We need to add it to our we'll add it to our dictionary.
Whizzing the Jews.
Whizzing the Jews. Dave and Stoney show up. They try to stop Matt. Matt, of course, shoves him down. And this is where he activates Link's newfound skills in WWE. Yeah. And Link picks up Matt, spins him around, throws him on a cake.
Yep.
Outstanding.
Super great.
Yeah, because it's 1992, so we're still in kind of that 80s era of we got to beat up the high school bully. We have to do it. And then, of course, Stoney comes over, pours juice on his head, and says Matt's famous line. I haven't even mentioned this, but Matt throughout the film keeps doing this thing where he goes, shoosh! To tell people to be quiet. It's really fucking irritating, actually. So we will mention it never again. So, prom continues. Matt has been, vanquished. The enemy is no longer at the gates. So prom continues, and there's dancing, and Stoney and Link and Dave all dance together.
They do like a synchronized dance.
They do a synchronized dance.
I'm pretty sure it's the 90s.
I'm pretty sure it's the dance from that Link had seen the Aboriginals do when he first got thawed out. So then prom ends. Everybody goes back to Dave's house. The entire prom goes back to Dave's house to play in the pool, and of course Dave gets to kiss Robin.
Hold on. Before you move on, you say pool. You mean the hole in the ground that is muddy as shit. It's so not gross. Even finished.
I don't know why anybody would want to freaking hang out in that pool. It's so gross. and this is like a Southern California school. You're telling me nobody else's parents have a pool?
Exactly.
What the fuck? Come on.
No, come back to my pool. Dude, this is a fucking hole in the ground.
While all this is going on, I should mention that just before I think they went to prom, while Stoney and Dave were just kind of hanging out because they weren't going to go to prom, an earthquake happens. And of course, we've come to realize in the film that earthquake means the arrival of something, right? And what this is going to turn out to be is the arrival of someone. And so Stoney and Link are now they're just kind of going through the house, and they go up to the glass door that leads into the house, and they see there's more cave paintings again. And they're like, oh gosh. And they look up and they see there's the smoke alarm going off. And of course, it's the 90s, so they look at each other and they just scream because it's comedy. I don't know. So they go upstairs and they open the bathroom, and there's Link's cave woman in the bathroom. Yeah. In the bath.
And Link is just so excited.
He is. He's like, ah! And he jumps in with her. Here's the part that I didn't really understand. It's like, okay, when they found Link, he was confused. Probably didn't even know what a bath would be, like an indoor plumbing and a tub. Yet somehow she arrives, and that's the first thing she's
taking a bubble bath.
She's taking a bubble bath. Like, how the fuck did she figure this out? Like, is she or women that
women
much
are smarter than men? I mean, I'm just saying. I guarantee if we had two women in these same seats, this podcast would be really well thought out.
It probably would. It wouldn't be just a couple of chuckle asses fucking coming up with shit off the top of their head. They'd have an actual plan, and they'd actually, write out their ideas.
Because men are stupid.
They really are. God
we just think about grindage and nugs.
Grindage and nugs. Oh, we're going to get some grindage after this. I'm starving.
Yeah.
And so that's how we end it, is they dress her in some, cool 90s hip gear where she looks like super clean, right?
Yeah.
Is that the word? Super clean. And that's how we end the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, And Polly then, of course, at the very end does a impression of the Terminator and says, "I'll be back," and that's it.
Dude.
Yeah, because of course Disney knew that this was going to be, there was going to be 3 movies.
Oh yeah.
That would involve Pauly Shore, even if he's not playing the exact same character. So yeah, that's where we just drop off. And I don't know if this is what helped this film, but did you know that 8 months before this film was due to release, they actually found a naturally mummified body of a man from 3300 BC in the Austrian Alps?
Really?
Isn't that crazy? Like right before this film is about to be released.
So like, hey, we're using this natural marketing.
Right? Isn't that great? And I'll leave it with this in terms of kind of wrapping up everything about this film, because there's really not much more to go into. Apparently, Sean Astin, Brendan Fraser, and Pauly Shore have all expressed interest in doing a sequel to the film.
I would love that.
Obviously not the Encino Woman sequel that from the 1996 that we're going to pretend never happened. But
Encino Kid or something like that?
Who knows? The reason I know it's recent is they talked about it would be done on Disney+.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, that might be something we have to look forward to.
I think that'd be really cool to see an older, like, Link.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how it would play out. Or like Link and his cave nug. I hate saying that. It feels so weird. So strange.
Cave Betty.
His cave Betty. There we go. His cave Betty, like, have a kid, but the kid's not quite evolved.
I think what would have to happen for this, I mean, don't steal my idea, Disney. I know you're probably going to. But I think it would have to be that somewhere along the line, Link had a brother or something like that, or maybe like a rival that gets awakened, and the rival is still young because he's in ice.
We find out that the rival came at the same time as Link, but, Brendan Fraser's character has become is a good person, has grown up to, do some really nice things, like he's a teacher or something,
or he was found by a bunch of good guys. Well,
right,
one good guy.
Yeah, one good guy, and Dave the Dick. Whereas his rival was found by, some corporate elite master who's trying to take over the school that they're building. I don't know. Fucking call us Disney.
That does sound like a Disney movie.
It does sound exactly.
So just know, like Disney, here. If this happens, IPTT Studios will not take you to court. We do not have the fundage, but we would like to at least be included, and I want to say the word grindage.
Yeah. Just give us the executive producer credit and let AJ say grindage, and we'll call it even. That's it, all right?
And let me whiz the juice.
Well, yeah. There must be a grand allowance of juice wheezing. So we're going to have that. AJ, you've seen this film several times, as have I. Who do you think is Sam Elliott playing in this?
See, I would love to see Sam Elliott. He couldn't be Pauly Shore because you still need Pauly Shore there. I would love to see Sam Elliott as Dave.
Oh, God.
Not necessarily because it would be a funny role, but I think that since Dave is a dick in general, it would be easier for like Sam Elliott to be able to just be flat with it.
I'm going to completely contradict you. I would love to see him as Pauly Shore's character. I want to see him as Stony. Just sitting there like, I'm going to be munching on some grindage.
Wheezing the juice.
Wheezing the juice. Can you imagine how irritated and annoyed he would be if you cast him in that and like made him do that role?
He'd be fucking so pissed. I mean, you gotta think it would be hilarious to see all those phrases. I mean, just the entire lingo. Don't tax my gig so hardcore, Cruster.
So, for anybody that's curious, this can be seen on Prime Video, Vudu, Redbox, or Apple TV. However, $3.99 across the board. You are going to have to pay to watch this film.
You can also readily find it available on DVD.
It actually is pretty easy to find. Yeah. So, if you want to, have it for yourself and not have to pay $3.99 for like a single viewing, yeah, I'd say just head to a vintage store. You can probably find the film for under $10.
Yeah, I found it at, I believe, in our area, it's like a half-price books.
Yeah.
But you can find it at like vintage stock. I don't even know if there's slackers anymore, but you can find them all there.
Right. Or what's that one that's sometimes in the mall? It's not like VHUV. What is it?
Shit.
FYP.
You mean FYE?
FYE, thank you. FYP. Yeah. For you page, of course.
That's... For you page.
Yeah, FYE.
I do want to say, before we do our classic spiel at the end.
Yeah, what do you got?
This is our 10th episode.
Holy shit, you're right.
10th episode. And guys, I want to say thank you for listening to us. We have over 100 plays right now. Our subscribers are growing. Our playlist is growing. We have people listening to us, and I want to say thank you for everyone that's listening to us overseas. We have listeners from Denmark, the United Kingdom, from New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I am... See, now I'm trying to remember, did I ever try to butcher a New Zealand accent? Because if I
don't
did,
think
I'm so sorry.
I mean, we did kind of butcher some German in the last one, but I don't think anyone would be too happy or too upset.
Okay, don't you pull me in that boat. You butchered German the last one, and it was glorious. And I love your awful German accent. It's amazing. I want to take you to Germany and just unleash you on the people there.
But again, we want to say thank you. We want to say thank you to every single person that has supported us so far. By all means, just keep a lookout for the future. We have things in the work for you. We do want to eventually do episodes where we do collaborations and different things like that. Starting a Patreon page for everyone gets you guys some merch. There are things in the works. I just want to ask each and every one of you, if you guys like this, just please give us a subscription so you guys don't miss any of our notifications. And interact with us on Instagram. We will interact with you. I have one person that you know who you are. You've interacted with us a couple different times. I do need to let you know that I am going to react and I'm going to respond to these, just so you know who you are.
And speaking of that, coming up in end of April and into May, we have some things that are coming up that are going to get in the way of the schedule a little bit. So we're going to modify things slightly for a short time period, and then end of May we'll be right back into our typical groove of things. What you're going to see from us in May, instead of talking about specific films or performers, we're going to be doing some of those discussions that AJ has talked about us doing, where we pick a topic and we kind of generally discuss our thoughts on a particular facet of filmmaking or storytelling. And we're just going to kind of wax. I'm not going to say intellectual because it's us, but we're going to wax. There's going to be some waxing. So we've got 3 of those episodes planned for May. So please be on the lookout for those. And then we won't have a podcast coming to you for the last week of April and the 3rd week of May? Something?
There'll be something. We'll post on our Instagram and we'll let you guys know.
And we're going to keep this train running by mentioning that our music is created by Augusto Denise, our logo by Arpon Design, mixing and editing by IPTT Studios.
And we want to hear from you in your own slice of toast. Tell us about the films that you think we and others should see, actors to showcase, or topics to discuss. You can reach us directly at IPTT_podcast or email us directly at IPTTpodcast@gmail.com. You can also interact directly through the Spotify app.
And if you ever find yourself waking up from thousands of years on ice only to be forced to attend an early 90s high school with Pauly Shore and a Hobbit, remember,
you can always get more grindage.
Check out the fresh nugs, wheezing the juice. Ow! Buddy.